Hey, what's going on, people? Hope y'all are doing good. Today, I've partnered with Rabbit to put the R1 through its paces by using it during a full day out at a theme park, dining out, and doing some shopping. While it's received its fair share of criticism, I think many people may have missed the points of what this device is designed for and who it's really great for. Let's see how it performs in real-world situations and why it might just deserve a second look, especially from those who have written it off a little too soon. In case you don't know, the Rabbit R1 is a $199 pocket-sized assistant powered by AI that doesn't require a subscription. It was designed in partnership with Teenage Engineering and it has a very polarizing look to it. The orange is extremely vibrant and nearly impossible to capture on camera. It's a cross between a brand new, super bright traffic cone and a reflective roadside worker vest. It has a 2.9-inch LCD touch display, however the touch functionality is limited to specific functions, such as using the keyboard when terminal mode is active. Hold up, Future Jonathan here, and I gotta say, Rabbit has completely surprised me once again. They recently dropped an update for the R1 that brought generative UI to it, and not only does this allow you to change the look of the UI whenever you're browsing those longer form results, but you can also use your touchscreen. So you can scroll up and down using the touchscreen and you don't have to use that little wheel. I wish they would open up the touchscreen functionality to the menu as well, but for now, this is what we got and it works great. If you go onto your Rabbit Hole account and then go under your profile, you can enable the experimental feature for generative UI, and then you can put in your own AI prompt for whatever you want in order to create a theme based on that prompt. And you can always ask the R1 to help you with that prompt if you need a little bit of assistance. For menu navigation, you'll be using the scroll wheel, or better yet, you can simply press and hold on the side button and ask to be taken to a specific setting located in the main settings. This side button also acts as the initiator when communicating with the AI assistant. Simply press and hold the button, ask your question, and release. It may take a few seconds depending on your internet connection to get a response. Double pressing will open up the camera, which can be used to capture a subject in order to gather more information about that specific thing, or you could use it to generate a magic photo, which I'll come back to later. You can also rotate the camera by using the scroll wheel as well. Lastly, pressing the button 5 times will refresh the Rabbit interface. There's a speaker on the back, 2 microphones on the top, and a USB-C port for charging. You'll also find a SIM card slot on the side for data, so you don't need to stay connected to a hotspot or Wi-Fi to use the R1. Speaking of that SIM card slot, here's a quick hack for you to get free data. If you're a Google Fi subscriber like I am, you can request a data-only SIM for free and use it with the Rabbit R1. The data-only SIM is linked to your unlimited data plan, so you won't be charged anything extra. I'll leave a link to sign up for Google Fi in the description as well as the pinned comment. If you use that link, we both get like $60 in Fi credit. Okay, so with my R1 having data, it allowed me to leave my phone behind and really use the device how it was intended. I even connected a pair of Bluetooth headphones to it and was able to catch up on podcasts and listen to my favorite playlist on Spotify and Apple Music. To set up Apple Music or Spotify, you'll need to log into your Rabbit Hole account, which offers a few other features, including Lamb Playground. Lamb Playground is a way to access websites and connect different accounts to gather information or to get things done. While it's still very new and limited in ways, it's a really cool way of getting things done without having to download a bunch of apps. Rabbit has been working very hard on rolling this out, and since the R1 was released, they have added functionality and made it much more usable. You can get a clear visualization of Lamb Playground and how it processes different requests by visiting your Rabbit Hole account. In fact, let me just show you a couple examples of what you can do and how it's done. Okay, so let me show you what you can do with Lamb Playground on the R1 and how you can see it all take place. So right now I'm logged into my Rabbit Hole account and I'm under the Lamb Playground tab and I have a connection set up with my R1. So I'm gonna go ahead and trigger the R1. Head to bestbuy.com, look up the 48-inch LG C4 OLED TV and add it to my cart. Okay, so you can see it's navigating to Google. Now it should go to the Best Buy website. Now it's going to quickly search for that TV. Okay, it found it. Now it's going to click on the listing. And it added it to my cart. So there you go. Before I was a tech content creator, I used to be an occupational therapist. I work with a large demographic of patients, including doing an internship at a school for children with behaviors. I know all too well the damage that can happen when kids get too much screen time while also being neglected basic needs. I say this because as a new parent myself, not only is the R1 great for people who love tech, I believe the Rabbit R1 is also perfect for kids. The R1 is a powerful tool for education, and it takes away the negative aspects of giving a child a phone. With the R1, a child can't access social media, they can't mindlessly scroll on Reddit or other websites where adult content is prominent. They can't watch YouTube videos for hours or play games instead of getting their schoolwork done or visiting outside with their friends. But you know what they can do? They can research. They can find answers to the most childish questions in places like Disney using the camera on the R1, which we'll be doing later. They can get assistance with their schoolwork if they're stuck and there's no adult around them to help them. They can also listen to music on their commute to and from school. Let me give you an example of how the R1 can help an elementary school student study.
So check this out. I just discovered that you could do this with the Rabbit R1. This is like super useful for students and teachers. Create a practice exam for 5th grade algebra and reading. Okay, so it just created the practice exam. Now if I go into my rabbit hole and then I refresh the page, check this out. There's my reading exam. You can see it has all the questions. There's the algebra exam. Now what's really cool is you can go back and pull up this information even after like you're done asking the Rabbit R1 questions. Like watch this, like I can use this as a resource. Now create an answer list for the 2 practice exams that you just created. Okay, so it just created the answer sheet. And I'm gonna go ahead and refresh my rabbit hole. There's the reading answer sheet, and then there is the algebra answer sheet.
Okay, so let's get to using the R1. The first place I wanted to use the Rabbit R1 was at Disney World, specifically Magic Kingdom. Okay, so let's try to use the Rabbit R1 here at Magic Kingdom in Disney to see how useful this would be for a kid to use walking around a theme park. I started by asking questions about the castle to get some background information that a kid may want to know.
When was this built?
Taking a look at the photo, the building is Cinderella Castle at Walt Disney World in Florida, and it was completed in 1971.
I also took a few magic photos, which can be downloaded from my Rabbit Hole account under the Journal tab. So inside the Journal section on your Rabbit Hole account, you can view all of your history. That's pretty much what it is. So any type of search that you did, any type of question that you've asked, or if you took a photo and you wanted to know more about that subject, you're going to find all of that on here. You can also look up notes that you might have taken or magic photos. So if I pull up the magic camera here, you can see I have a shot of a couch, which was just a random photo that I accidentally took of my couch, and it processed it a little bit differently, making it a bit more creative, I would say. So here's another example here. And again, I believe it's a couch with my son. Although my son does not look like that, you can see it took whatever was in that photo and it generated something a little bit more creative. You can see some of the questions that I've asked here, like what colors go best with my skin tone? And that is a terrible picture of me. And you can see it gave me some answers right there. How do I take care of this plant? It breaks it all down for me. What kind of dog is this? That is my dog. And you can see it nailed it. It appears to be a Yorkshire Terrier. If I go up to some of the newer things that I've done, I have discovered something that is really cool that I want to share with you. If you have kids, they're absolutely going to love this because you can have the R1 create a story with your kids as the main character. So right here, I created a story about a kid named Theo, who's my son, who grew up in the woods and was raised by a tiger. And you can see it created a short story right here. Now I can go right up here and save that story. I can print it out, and then I can make like a little binder with a bunch of little short stories for my son that I can read to him at bedtime. Going back to Disney, I asked several more questions, including how fast the Mine Train roller coaster is. How fast is the Mine Train at Disney?
Looking it up now. Searching for Disney Mine Train speed. The Seven Dwarfs Mine Train at Disney reaches a top speed of 34 miles per hour, which is approximately 55 kilometers per hour.
I also asked about the latest roller coaster at Magic Kingdom, Tron, and if it had any significant drops, since many people may find them to be a bit too much. What's the steepest drop on Tron?
Hey there, Future Jonathan here. As I used the R1 more, my thought process shifted slightly. So while I still stand by the R1 being perfect for kids and adolescents, it's also a great device for people that just want to do things a little bit differently. I'll explain this more when I do my iPod comparison later on in the video, but I have to say it's a really fun way of getting information. So for the next few examples, you'll see more adult and young adult use cases, but just wanted to give you a heads up, so back to past me.
Another way I used the Rabbit R1 was for eating out. I first asked about keto-friendly smoothies at a local chain called Clean Eats that focuses primarily on healthy meals.
Does Clean Eats offer keto-friendly smoothies?
Searching now. Searching for Clean Eats keto-friendly smoothies menu. Clean Eats offers a variety of healthy menu options, including meals with keto-friendly choices. However, specific details about keto-friendly smoothies are not explicitly mentioned.
Next, I asked about the best Japanese barbecue near me.
What's the best Japanese barbecue restaurant near me?
Give me a moment to look that up for you. Looking for places. Best Japanese barbecue restaurant near you. Jukaku Japanese BBQ. Address: 140 Sugar Bell Drive, Winter Garden, Florida.
Once I got the answer, I went and checked it out. Once inside, we ordered tons of food. To get things started, I wanted to test the R1 by asking what type of soup I was eating, which the R1 nailed it. Next, the server brought out these delicious dumplings. I asked the R1 how to make them, which it gave me a detailed answer with ingredients and cooking instructions. I also asked the R1 for a macro count on the salad. While it's an estimate and shouldn't be taken to the T, it is a great starting point. I can see this being useful after the holidays when I'm trying to get back into shape. If I was a teenager in high school and trying to watch my calorie intake due to sports like wrestling, I could see this being extremely useful for that situation as well. Lastly, I tested the R1 while shopping, and the first demonstration is back at Disney. I tried to put myself in a kid's shoes that was given $20 to buy a souvenir. I scanned an item's price tag and I asked what the cost would be including tax. The R1 gave me the exact total, which is awesome. This not only helps kids understand how buying things works, but it also gives them a level of independence since they can find out if they have enough money on their own without consulting their guardian. Next up, I wanted to see what the youngest age a kid could attend a local karate dojo.
How old do you have to be to go to Chop House Martial Arts?
Chop House Martial Arts in Horizon, West Florida welcomes individuals aged 4 and up to participate in their martial arts programs. This inclusive age range allows both children and adults to learn martial arts in a supportive and professional environment.
Lastly, I did little price checks at my local Best Buy. I wanted to find the cheapest price on a few items, including this LG 48-inch TV, which was actually cheaper on Amazon by $100. I also checked out the price on a camera, which happened to be priced the same as other online stores outside of Adorama, which was a bit more expensive, and then this random store. The R1 said it was street pricing, which is pretty funny considering like how I grew up. Street pricing means that the item was stolen, but we're not gonna knock it for that. I even used the Rabbit R1 to find out local traffic times to see if there's any congestion between here and the airport when I go drop off my friend.
What's the weather gonna be like today?
Checking today's weather forecast for you. The weather in Winter Garden, FL today is partly cloudy with 84 degrees Fahrenheit, 10% precipitation, and 59% humidity.
How's the traffic on the way to the airport?
Searching for directions. The drive from Winter Garden, Florida to Orlando International Airport is approximately 33.9 miles and takes about 35 minutes under current conditions. The route involves several toll roads, including FL 429 and FL 417. There are no significant traffic delays reported at the moment, so the drive should be relatively smooth.
And it absolutely nailed it. It also gave me turn-by-turn directions, but considering this feature is still a work in progress, I found it to work very well. In many ways, the Rabbit R1 is the new iPod. I say this because many people are going to say that their phone can do everything the R1 can do, so this device is pointless. And for those people, I'll leave you with this. If you research sales on used iPods, they are still selling even though iPhones are glorified iPods. Why is this? Because many people don't want a device that does everything. Some people want separation because it eliminates distractions by reducing screen time. This is especially important in adolescence. I say this as a parent myself and as someone that has worked as a therapist with experience treating kids in an alternative school for children with behaviors. I get it though. The R1 had a rough start. That said, there's no denying that Rabbit is taking the R1 seriously. Most of the reviews discussing the shortcomings of the R1 are from April and May. Rabbit has already addressed all of those concerns, including the snappiness and speed of response. They're now rolling out Lamb Playground and focusing on building it up for even more functionality. Speaking of Rabbit rolling out updates for the R1, they're now rolling out Teach Mode, which works in tandem with Lamb Playground, sorta kinda. Basically, you record yourself performing a useful task on any website just once, and then Rabbit can learn it and then perform similar tasks for you in the future. You're basically teaching the AI that's built into the R1 on what you want it to do. Now, it is a bit tricky and time consuming, especially if you have no experience doing this type of thing. Luckily, they have great guides and walkthroughs to basically hold your hand through the entire process. And if you don't want to create a lesson on your own, you can always go under the community lessons and browse that selection. And if you find one that you like, you can always save it and then use it as your own. Now, once I figure out how to use Teach Mode a little bit better and get some more experience under my belt, I have no problem doing a follow-up video or even a few social media videos if you like. But right now, as it stands, it still kind of confuses me. So I've been using a lot of community lessons and customizing them and making them my own. So here's a quick example of one of those. As you can see, there is nothing in my Amazon cart. I'm gonna go ahead and use my Rabbit R1 to add this 8TB Lexar SSD into my cart. Add the Lexar 8TB NVMe Gen 4 SSD to my Amazon shopping cart.
Entering the search term Lexar 8TB NVMe Gen 4 SSD into the search box on Google Images. Searching for the Lexar 8TB NM790 SSD listing on Amazon to add it to the shopping cart. Adding the Lexar 8TB NM790 SSD to the shopping cart on Amazon, offering optional protection plans for the Lexar NM790 SSD purchase. The Lexar 8T NVMe Gen 4 SSD has been successfully added to your Amazon shopping cart.
We'll refresh my cart. Let's see. And there it is. Okay, so real quick, I have one more thing to say and then we'll go back to the main video. But with the introduction of Teach Mode and Generative UI, I have to revamp my stance on the R1 a little bit. The entire video, I was saying that the R1 is great for kids. However, with these two new advanced modes, I think tech enthusiasts that love to tinker and customize their devices are absolutely going to love these, especially if they can somehow fine tune them a little bit, make them a little more user-friendly and quicker to use. Man, once these things align, tech enthusiasts are going to love the ability to create custom commands and lessons. It's awesome. Rabbit has also pushed out more than 15 OTA updates, not to mention they are rolling out daily cloud updates behind the scenes. I'm not trying to discredit anyone's thoughts and opinions here. If you feel the R1 isn't for you, then don't buy it. However, as someone who loves tech and uses all different types, I like to look at things from a different perspective. Some tech deserves to be canned and scrapped, but that isn't the case with the R1. If you feel like you fit into this group and want to give the R1 a try, Rabbit offers a free 30-day return period. I'll leave links in the description as well as the pinned comment if you feel like checking it out. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content just like this, and I'll see you beautiful people in the next one.